What is going on, guys? It's the MaD Dragon. It's a Monday, which of course means we're going to be checking out the results from our predictions for the weekend of rugby and go over how terribly we all did, or how brilliantly some of us did. Some of you guys absolutely smashed this week. We'll do the world rankings very quickly just because there's a lot of games to go over. And look, a few things I want to talk about some of the games as well. And there's not a great deal of movers and shakers in the world of rugby world rankings, but let's check it out very quickly. New Zealand got a few points from their win over France. France losing that. England closing that gap up 2 from 2 against Argentina means they close that gap up towards France. Australia, leapfrog Argentina and Scotland because they both lost their games. Fiji climbing up, still solidifying that 9th place in the world. Wales got their first win at 18 games. Nobody can do it to Wales 18 times in a row. That would be too many. Eventually got there. Eventually got that win. It was scrappy, but took big points. Basically took back all the points they lost versus Japan last week. So moved back into 12th. Spain got a win over the USA, which sees them overtake them by 1.57. Uruguay climbing a few points. Romania dropping that amount of points. And then Belgium. Man, Belgium overtook Canada there with taking the 1.22. That was one that caught me out. I had full faith in Canada for that one. Let's jump in with let's start out with the actual internationals then, because there's quite a few things to talk about along the way here. So first game of the week then, Fiji versus Scotland. Was surprised by this. A lot of people thought it was a big stacked Scotland team. To be fair, I didn't catch this game. This was on Premier Sport, I think had it. I don't have Premier Sport, so I didn't get to watch this game. Don't really know what went on, but Fiji taking this one 29-14. I went for 5, so a little bit low for me, but that percentage markup, I saw a big Scottish team. There was something about the way I saw Fiji play against Australia the week previously, and I felt like they kind of let themselves down a little bit. If they just corrected the handling errors, they just sorted some stuff out. I was like, I think that's a Fiji team that can beat Scotland, and went on too, but a lot of people went for Scotland over Fiji. So where you wanted to be then, Johnny, getting in there on Fiji by 17. You take that full bonus point all for yourself. Well done to Johnny, RM13, and Big Brain also taking the half bonus point. You will see the split though. There's me. You'll see the split they're going towards Scotland and a wall of Scottish picks there as well, because I'm not surprised by that. Certainly, a good Scottish team. Japan versus Wales, the first one to trip me up at the weekend. I went for Japan by 5. I honestly was like, I was impressed by Japan last week. The Wales first half last week was like okay, and then they had a terrible second half, and I thought, if Japan just do the same thing again, I think they win again. Weirdly, this week, I don't really know if this is going to sound weird because it's going to sound kind of contradictory. I don't know if Wales got better. They just did stuff less worse, which is kind of the same thing, right? But if you understand your rugby, you understand what I mean about that. It's not just, that they had a great game, they exploded and they were doing amazing. They just fixed the things they shouldn't have been getting wrong anyway. Sorting out the handling errors, the knock-ons, forward passes, giving up, these ridiculous attacking opportunities. A couple of players really stepping up for Wales as well, but it was that last week. It was just sort of 4 players that you go like, those guys are doing well. And other players, you just sort of sit back and you go, I'm not sure. But I think not having Costello there, letting Dan Edwards have a run was a good move. But yeah, caught me off guard on that one. I went for Japan by 5. Eventually Wales taking that one by 9. A lot of people went for Japan, not surprised. I think this one was kind of 50-50. Where you wanted to be then? A few people getting in joint scores along the way. Ben, Phil, Yain, Steve Cox and T-Bone all taking the 0.25. Johnny, I've just seen another name back in there as well on 0.5. Only 1 away. Johnny could be on for a good round in this one. New Zealand versus France then. After the performance from France last week, I expected a bounce back from New Zealand to be like, we got to stamp this out now. We got to sort this out. But I still thought France would do a little bit better than this. New Zealand taking it by 26. I went for 14, a little bit low on my end. Milan coming in there on 23. Very, very close. Takes the full bonus point for yourself, and a tie grabbing a half bonus point there. Anyone go for France? A couple of people went for France. I know the Beast always likes going for some big picks, but a few people thought maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to get away there with some French picks, get some big points your way. South Africa versus Italy. Man, not the way. This was how I saw the game going last week. Not this week necessarily. South Africa took this one by 45 with a 0 scoreline to Italy. Wasn't expecting that. I went for 33. This was very, very high. Even with a red card going in there from Jasper Wiese and some very Interesting tactics, which I'll talk about in a second. I kind of want to just quickly mention about that as well. What you want to do, the Rhino coming in on the full points there on 45, got it bang on. Once again, people are very good at getting these bang on. Big Brain, who we've already said in this video, and Poxy taking the 0.5 as well. I doubt anyone went for Italy. No one went for Italy in this one. But yeah, South Africa going in with some interesting tactics. We saw the kickoff. Now, I'm not going to claim I'm the most aficionado, mega brain person when it comes to rugby rules. I like to believe I understand most rugby rules. Saw the South Africa do that kickoff. My initial thought was, I'm pretty sure that's just a penalty because he's offside anyway. Damien Deal and they were in offside. There's been a few discussions about that online. I thought that was just a penalty. I've seen a few things people said actually just being in front of the kicker isn't a penalty. And you do see... I would 70% of kickoffs a winger in front of the kicker as it happens. It happens in basically every single restart, right? But they never really get pinged for it. But they're normally not as blatant as Damien Dialende directly in front of the 10 was. It was also, to my understanding, that if there's an illegal kickoff by not making the 10, you don't actually have to take the scrum option. I believe you can just make the team redo the restart. So that'll be one that I think will get flagged now that it's been so dramatically put in the face of World Rugby of going, we're going to find loopholes in the laws of rugby and try and, how can we use this to our benefit? I think that's one World Rugby will clamp down on really harshly. I think it would have been funnier if it is in the rules for Italy just to have gone, redo that restart and mitigated it completely, and then they'd either have to done it again and said redo it again or kick off properly. I think would have been funnier. But, it didn't actually pay off South Africa. I don't think they even got something from that scrum after that one anyway. And then the other one was this midfield maul thing, which a lot of people are annoyed about. And we know this is a thing. I'm not a big fan of the overpoweredness of mauls anyway in rugby, just as a person. I'm not a big fan of like 90% of 5-meter driving mauls from a line out to just end up being a try. I don't find a lot of fun in that. I want to see people bursting down the wing, hitting great line breaks. I want to see, good tries. I've never been a big fan of just trundling over through power to score a try. Anyway, this is a new thing that's coming now. The lifting the pod, it's not quite the same as what we saw from South Africa a few months back, maybe even close towards the World Cup, where they did the double lifting pod at the line out and play from one to the other, which was more innovation that I did enjoy. This one feels weirder because it was just lifting in the middle of the park and you just got... Now, I don't quite understand the laws around this because people have been quite annoyed about that, saying it's, against the spirit of the game. It is mirrored by the fact that on restart kickoffs, players get lifted, when they're receiving the ball, and therefore it's completely allowed to happen anywhere in the park and so on. I feel like there's enough mitigation in there that you can actually counter that very easily. Again, for me, it's going to be one of those, how much do I know about rugby laws in there, right? If you lift a player from just a pass, I believe there's actually a little bit more to do from it's come from the boot. Similarly to the way I don't believe you can create a maul from a player receiving a kick. You're not actually allowed to just immediately hold that person up and a maul be created. I think there's little technical laws in like rugby terms that allow you to get away from it. Just a pass to a player that then is lifted into the air and catches it. My rugby knowledge would extend to the idea that as soon as that player hits the ground and they're going to set up for the maul, you actually run your shoulder into one of the guys that lifted him, who's no longer lifting him, he's now on the ground, and you make the claim, I've tried to tackle with the guy with the ball, but this player without the ball is now in front of him. And you force the obstruction, and by letter of the law, you'd have to win a penalty from that. I feel like that one's enough that you can just mitigate it. I actually don't feel like it would be a very useful tactic. But they've explored this sort of, different ways of playing rugby. I'm one who doesn't mind innovation in rugby. I quite liked, if you go back, a couple of years now, the Italy-England game where they dived into the letters of the law, and when does a ruck become a ruck? Where does the offside? And you had all the Italian players running around the back. I like the idea of testing the laws and what you can get away with. There's some that I genuinely disagree with, that I think you should be allowed to get away with that the laws say you can't. One for me is kicking at the posts from a penalty. That you're not allowed to say we're going to kick for posts, but then kick short or kick to the corner and have someone catch it and score a try. Even though if you kick at the posts and it misses the posts, someone can catch it and score a try anyway. But like if you intentionally do it, I feel like you should be allowed to get away with it. I feel like you should be allowed to say, oh, we're going to go for posts. They all go around in a big huddle underneath the post, and then you kick it across the pitch and someone catches and scores a try. I think you should be allowed because it's allowed in other settings, right? So I feel like innovation is good in rugby, and I feel like some things can affect change in the law. I think one of the issues for South Africa is whether they've done this to test the waters on what they can get away with, or maybe even they have found loopholes they don't want other teams to use, and so they're trying to make it very blatant to World Rugby. Look at this as like a sort of caveat in the rules that World Rugby's going to have to intervene now. Is it Razzie playing the mind games? Are they genuinely saying, this is the law, we're going to play to it, and you can't stop us from doing it, and we're going to utilise the scrums, the mauls, the power game that we know that the South Africa have. The only thing is, I think when you do it so blatantly, like in like a ref's face, like, look at what we're doing now, I feel like you're going to end up forcing World Rugby's hands to make the change. A better one for me would be, rather than do that restart they did where they just kicked it in Damon Dialende, ran straight offside, do the winger, let the winger run off, and just don't let the fly half kick at the 10, and kick like a normal kickoff, but make it look like a rubbish kick. And that it wasn't intentional. You would still be awarded the scrum. You could still try and get the penalty. It would still do what you want, but making it quite as blatant as it was, I feel like it's going to force a change from World Rugby, and then a lot of the supporters are going to get mad that they're targeting, South Africa as a team and try and take that strength. Whereas what they've sort of done is outline an issue law in the World Rugby laws, and I think they're going to end up forcing a change there by doing so. Next game then, Ireland, Portugal. Man! Again, not another one I saw. I think this one was on Premier Sports too. I didn't see this one. Not expecting that. 106-7. Portugal are not a bad team. Ireland missing a lot of players off with the Lions. I said 18. 99 was your answer. Yeah, not going to get this one. I doubt anybody got point. Oh, some people went really high, all the way up to nearly taking more points yet again. Went out on 60, but yeah, not to be. Nobody going out as high as that outrageous score. As was this one. Uruguay, Romania, 62. Now, again, this is a sort of game where I'm not going to have as much knowledge on the players, the teams. I saw sort of the team sheets. I was like, I'm back in Uruguay for this one. Didn't really know by how much. I consider Uruguay better than Romania, but didn't know where. Went for the 5. Low end, quite broad, pick. 62 was insane. That is an enormous score. And again, didn't see it, so don't know if there was like 7 red cards for Romania or what happened in that game. But yeah, nobody taking points away from this one as well. All of us just picking Uruguay. Anyone go for Romania? Oh, good smattering of players, to be fair, went for Romania on that one. But yeah, nobody taking big points away from this game. Argentina, England. Oh boy, this was a clencher for me. I had a 7-fold accumulator bet on the go at the same time, which isn't necessarily these right picks. I had basically swap out the Wales win was the only one I had difference in there, and this is the last one I needed to come in. I said England to win, 7-fold accumulator, last game of the thing, 80th minute. They eventually managed to get there. Good God, that was a hard game to watch. That was not a good game by England. I actually thought Argentina did okay. That was a very, very unfinishing England. I don't even know what word to use. They just refused to score. They just couldn't do something to get over that line. I was losing my mind watching that one. I wanted my bet to go in. Eventually, they did win that game by 5, and I said exactly 5. It's one of the first I get bang on. A lot of people going for Argentina, maybe expecting bounce back from last week. Myself, Exaquias and Etai all split that bonus point 3 ways, so we'll get a 0.33. Anyone want to go big for that one? Oh, the wife went out there for England by 17. I could see why a lot of people went for Argentina on that one. Thought maybe a rebound from last week. And then, oh man, this one caught me off guard. This one. I said Canada by 5. 95% of people went for Canada. Couldn't tell you anything about Belgium rugby, but my goodness, Belgium by 7. That's a good win for them, for me, over Canada. Did anyone go for Belgium? Oh, a few people went for Belgium, to be fair. Including my wife. I'll have to apologise for that last one. she went for it with M. Henderson and Connor Does Rugby, another YouTuber over in the world of rugby. Went for Belgium. Great picks by you guys, all splitting that 3 ways to get that 0.33. USA versus Spain to finish us off then. Another one tripped me up. USA by 5 is what I went for. I would consider USA a better team than Spain, but again, Spanish rugby not something I know a lot about. A lot of people were going for USA. A few people going for Spain. She's done it again. You know what? She'll get home from work. She'll have a chat with me. Mrs. Dragon getting in there again with 10 for Spain, along with Megalomaniac and Scottish Squid, splitting that 3 ways again. That point. 3-3 going to it, so only off by 1 point as well. Over to the round then. How did we get on? Nobody this week getting all the games correct, which is not a surprise. There were some big results in this one. But Etai is the person who comes on, always taking those little bonus points away. 8 win points are still very, very good. 1.5 match points and the 0.33 for the bonus as well. Taking your 9.83. Huge scores. I'm dead in the water, I think. Steed Cox comes in on second place on 9.75. Johnny finishes in third on 9th. Big Brain down in fourth on 8.5. Joint with Pierre. Scottish Squid on 8.33. Mark Dunphy on 8, along with RM13 and Gobi 59. Yayan on there on 7.75. And an honourable mention to the missus. She's over here on 7.66, clearly displaying that she knows more about rugby than me. I'll have a bit of a scroll down so everyone can see me. There's me on my 6.83. Only 6 correct for me this week. I'll have a bit of a scroll down so everyone can see. A few people are getting 5 correct, 4 correct as we get down, 3 correct, 2 correct, and no picks. Let's see what shifted up in the leaderboard then. Exaquias on the in the first place position on 17.83. Well done to you, Exaquias, holding out that number 1 spot. Brandon 09 down 1, but still staying in 2 on a very, very good score of 17.5. Etai climbs 16 places up to 17.08 within that 1 point region now. That is a good round for Etai, this one, with his gold cap. Steed Cox climbs 19 up into 4th place. Big Brain up 7 into 5th. Pierre up 10 into 6th. Johnny up 17 into 7th. Gobi up 6 into 8th. RM13 up 6 into 9th. And Colinder's Rugby is coming along nicely. He's got into 10th position on 15.33. Scottish Squid did well as well, to be fair. Up 14 places up into 11th. Just missing out on that top 10 spot by 0.17. Yep. Quick maths off the top of my head. Yeah, we got then dropping down. Elwar dropping down 10. Bristolian Bears down 10. Mark Dunphy up 20. Big round for you, Mark. Myself down 3. She's caught up with me. She's going to let me know about this one. She's up into 17th, climbing 14 places. David Wakefield up 16, up into 18th as well. Villa Farrell dropping down along with Bonjour England, no chance to win. Rhino, even though getting some good picks this round, down 4. Maybe just getting some of the picks incorrect, along the way with the actual teams and what have you. Barry up 10, Joey Barton up 16. Oh my god, there's some big movers. Annie down 19, Forrest up 10, Bears Gamer up 12. Oh, Dave down 19, Sharpie down 23, Rugby 15 down 23. There are some big. This is what can happen in one round. Some underdogs win, some big scores come in, taking those bonus points. All important. As we scroll all the way down there to people who still only down here on the joint 3 points along the way. So congratulations are in order to Etai on winning the round and Exaquias for taking that number 1 spot. On to the Lions then. Am I doing any better with the Lions? Starting out with the Wednesday game then, because we didn't cover this one this week so far. Going up against the Brumbies, Lions took this one by 12. I went big again, but I've started trying to dip it down now for the Lions. I went down to 31 for this one, but I was still off by quite a way. Absolutely love this. I was going to say, anyone go for the Brumbies? Brumbies all the way. Went for the Brumbies. Got to with a name like that. You have to have the confidence, and I'm so glad you did go for the Brumbies on that one. That's great. Absolutely love that. Where did you want to be then? Down here. Colinder's Rugby. Oh man, I'm right. Oh man, it's the names across the board. Some people are having good tournaments this year. Just they got that edge now on what they're doing. Both of you guys going for 12. So both getting it bang on and splitting it in half. They're Rido and Colinder's Rugby. Out to the mega scores. We Lurch thought 61. That's a big old score for the Lions. And then game 6. Oh, man, this one I thought totally different. Saw the squad get announced for the Invitational A versus an NZ team. Stack side with some talented players, some people potentially missing out on actual international duty. I was thinking, I still thought the Lions would. I went for 17. I was thinking more maybe a 40 points to 20. I thought big scores on both sides. 48-0 was not what I expected at all. That was a team that felt like you could tell they'd only been together 8 days. I feel like they need more time. If they're also like the sort of chimera team similar to the Lions, I feel like they deserve to have more time together to be able to get to a standard where they didn't really feel like they were, great opposition. Unfortunately, I really wanted to see them, be a really sort of well-defined, talented team working well together. Anyone take anything from this one? Jazzology, with a wild call, goes in for the British and Irish Lions by 60. And you know what? Took the bonus point. Fair play. Going the massive scores sometimes pays off for you. So as it looks with the rounds, then the rounds will unfortunately be the most recent game. So well done to Jazzology. If you pick the Lions, you get 1 point. If you didn't pick the Lions, you don't get a point. That's basically how it works. So the leaderboards, as they stand then at the minute, Yippee Try Yay in that number 1 spot on 7 points, along with Forest and Metalomaniac, who climbed 1. All of you guys on 7, separated only by that TDM. Etai climbed 1 on 6.5, joint with David Wakefield and Poxy on 6.5. Yain and Sliceberg also at 1. Reed, oh man, I feel like you're doing really well, mate. And somehow on the leaderboards, it's not true. I don't know how that's possible. I feel like you're doing great work, but apparently not. I don't know what's going on there. It does slip down the 6 places, but still holding in the top 10 on 6 points. You're still doing better than me. So, take it as you're still doing well. Johnny finishing out then on the top 10 on 5.5 with an honourable mention then to the rest of the people on 5.5. Mark Dunphy, Scottish Squid, Ben Villafarrell, there's a lot more than I thought here. Me, Joey Barden, and Gobi all on the 5.5, all the way down to 17th. Very, very competitive to get in the top 10 at the minute. I don't even know how. I like that me and Villafarrell had some really similar picks as well. I've been keeping an eye on Villafarrell's picks because we've always been quite good with, being quite even on fantasy or predictors, and then by the end he overtakes me by miles. But you know what? We've held on for now. We'll have a bit of a scroll down so everyone can see their names. A lot of climbers here, which means I'm expecting some big people to drop down like Connor does rugby. What happened, Connor, in this one? Didn't you literally did I just say you got the points? How does how do the leaderboards work compared to the rounds? Who knows? Down 26, Jazzology getting that gold cap up 13, Big Wolf down 25, and Third Nerd down 21 as well. Scroll down to the bottom to where some people finishing off. So well done to Jazzology on getting that one for that 60 point mark was a big one. And congratulations to Yippee Try Yay for holding out that number 1 spot. You do have close competition basically through till 6th though. So big games going on. In the next round then, no Wednesday game this week for the Lions. They are up against Australia. It's the first game actually up against the Wallabies, so get ready for that one over on Saturday the 19th. And then in terms of the July internationals rather, we've got some interesting games going on. Samoa versus Scotland. That's a tough one to call. Canada versus Spain. New Zealand, France for a 3rd time. South Africa, Georgia. Oh, I think we know who we're picking there. Argentina, Uruguay. Again, I feel like I know who I'm picking there as well. And then USA versus England. I feel like I know. I feel like a lot of us know who we're going to pick for a lot of these games. But Canada, Spain. Spain could be fun, but I feel like I know where I'm going there. So maybe not quite as many points to take away next week. It is the final round as well for the July International. So where am I? How far down am I? 14.3. I'm going to need a lot of you guys to get a lot of stuff wrong. I'm just saying, if you like me, time to pick real wrong to give me a chance to get into the top 10. I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys. Do let me know your thoughts, where you're ending up on the leaderboards, what your thoughts were on the South African tactics on the weekend. A lot of stuff to talk about as well. Drop it down in the comment section. I do enjoy having a read through. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.